That's the sound of Mount Vernon's gristmill, hard at work and money in the bank for George Washington, who was actually a miller and distiller on top of everything else that he did. I decided to ask Mount Vernon's farm and gristmill manager if Washington's mill was in any way as unique as the man who owned it.
When the mill was built in 1770, it was a very fine mill, but it was probably pretty similar to most mills in this region. When it changed to be a more automated mill in 1791, that's when it becomes a little more different, because when George Washington's president, one of his jobs, believe it or not, was to sign patents. And so in 1790, a gentleman named Oliver Evans applied for a federal patent, and Evans had invented the automated flour milling system. And so he called it the Evans system, and what Evans did was incorporate means to move grain and flour through the mill automatically. And he patented this system, and George Washington learned of it when he saw the patent and installed it here at Mount Vernon in 1791. So at that point, from 1791 on, he had really a cutting-edge mill.
The mill that stands today is a reproduction of the one that Washington had installed, located on its original spot down the road from Mount Vernon, where you can see all the cogs and gears at work.
If you come Monday through Friday, you'll see us grind corn in the cornmeal, and you'll tour the first 2 floors of the mill. If you come on the weekends, we start at 10 a.m., you get to tour all 4 floors of the mill. And it just, with all of this machinery running, the mill is a live building. It'll really be interesting to you. Plus, you'll learn a lot about Washington as an entrepreneur, which many people don't even realize. Everybody's pretty familiar with him as a general and as a president, but he was a very good businessman.
George Washington's business prowess also resulted in the building of a whiskey distillery.
There were 3,500 distilleries in Virginia in the 1790s. The difference with George Washington's is it's quite large. Most distillers might run 1 or 2 stills and might make 100 to 400 or 500 gallons a year. George Washington builds a distillery with 5 stills and makes, the first year it's operating 4,500 gallons of whiskey, and the second year it's operating 11,000 gallons of whiskey. So he's really at the top end of the scale of producers.
Washington was making a lot of whiskey, but that's because there were a lot of people drinking whiskey back in his day.
You got to keep in mind people drank more then than they do today. Part of the reason for that is that waterborne diseases killed a lot of people. So even if you're not drinking whiskey, you're drinking ales or ciders or beers. They're not all as strong in alcohol content as beers and ales today, but even children are drinking beers that are lower in alcohol content.
Unlike Washington's mansion, the gristmill and distillery are only open a couple months longer.
At the end of October, the mill shuts down. We're open from April through October, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. And once you get deep into November a little bit, it gets so cold in here. This building is not, air conditioned. It's not heated. It's a stone building. So by the time you get into early December, if it's 30 degrees outside, it'll be about 18 degrees inside here.
Luckily, the whiskey that the distillery has been making will be ready just after the mill's closing, available online and in Mount Vernon's gift shop while it lasts. Just the perfect thing to hold you over until the mill opens next spring.